We're joined by eNCA reporters Silindelo Masikane, who is in the High Court in Johannesburg for us, and Nqobile Madlala is in KZN. Sli, I'm going to start with you, of course, because it's the breaking news story that we had earlier. Convicted murderer Ntuthuko Shoba's application for leave to appeal his conviction and sentence being denied today. What has been the reaction?
Well, from the Pule family in particular, relief as well as vindication in terms of the state's case against Ntuthuko Shoba. We know that he was found guilty back in July of the premeditated murder of Tshekgofatso Pule, who was 8 months pregnant with his baby. At the time, she was found hanging from a tree in June of 2020. It was a gruesome murder right in the middle of lockdown. When we were still in the grips of the COVID-19 pandemic, and just illustrating and showing once more just how unsafe women are in this country. At 8 months pregnant, her family in particular was quite devastated because not only did they lose Pule to her death, but also her unborn baby, who we know was a boy. So in terms of the application itself, we saw arguments being heard last week Friday before the very same judge who convicted and sentenced Ntuthuko Shoba. So his new legal representation had to convince Judge Stuart Wilson that he may have placed more weight on the confession of the triggerman, the confession from Muzgaisa Malepane, who pointed to Ntuthuko Shoba as being the one who contracted him and hired him to carry out this murder. They're saying perhaps a different court may not put as much weight as this court did and come to a different conclusion and possibly overturn his conviction and ultimately his sentence. But Judge Stuart Wilson just not convinced, and the Pule family just quite relieved that the application was denied, as well as the NPA that has also welcomed the judgment. Let's take a listen.
There is no sufficiently compelling reason to grant leave to appeal. To do so would be no more than an exercise in judicial vanity, and one which would only lengthen the dull, dragging agony that these proceedings have no doubt imposed on Miss Pule's family and friends. No substantial argument on the prospects of an appeal against sentence was directed to me. I put to Mr. Barnard that if I was right to convict Mr. Shoba, then I must have been right to sentence him as I did. Mr. Barnard offered no riposte. For all these reasons, the application for leave to appeal against both conviction and sentence is refused.
All right, Nqobile, let's come to you in Harding in the south of KZN, where, of course, we have Police Minister Bheki Cele expected there to engage with the community that's been complaining about escalating crime in the area. What have they told the minister so far?
Well, Masego, they've painted a picture of a community that is ridden by crime and a lot of killings. Everyone who has stood up at this point, who is brave enough to even speak, have said that they are scared that after this they probably and potentially will lose their lives, because there are people that come to listen and identify those that do speak out. However, what they've said is that every single one of them have experienced how killings happen in broad daylight. People here get shot more than 6 times, more than 10 times. A woman said 18 times is how many times her son was shot. Another one stood up and said she had to watch how her husband, her children, as well as the neighbor's son got shot right in front of her, and she had no idea how to help them, and eventually everybody passed away from the killings that happened right in front of her. Everyone has also highlighted that they're worried about about the petty crime that also continues to take part in this part of town. They're saying that it has now affected businesses as well. And at the same time, they're asking for the police to also strengthen the law enforcement in the area. Some have blamed the police, saying that they're also corrupt. They've told all of this to the minister as well as the provincial commissioner, who's currently listening. But they've asked that they want answers and they want the difference at the end of this engagement. Let's listen in as a gentleman explains how he lost his brother, who's also a police officer.
Was shot 15 times in the vehicle on duty. Was on duty. The case is with the Hawks. I just want to say that the case is going. We know the Hawks, they keep in touch with us and all that. We know who's going on. It's just that if the policeman is killed, what about the community? If the policeman protect the community? And another problem I have and my family has with this, the vehicle that he was killed in has been repaired and they're using it here. Every time we see that vehicle, the pain of the memory comes to us. And it pains us to see this vehicle that we know my brother died in. So we just want the minister to know what is going on.
All right, that was your All Angles lunchtime update on eNCA with reporters Silindelo Masikane and Nqobile Madlala. Thank you both. Let's leave it there for now.